Hey guys, it's Ona. Today is Thursday, September 28th, 2023, the day before the Aries full moon. This is Moonshine episode, I think 13 or 14 of the Aries full moon that's occurring at tomorrow morning, the 29th of September at 4:57 a.m. Central Standard Time. So just before 5 a.m. And I'm going to try, I'll be up there if the moon agrees. It's been really cloudy, so we'll see what happens. And again, I want to introduce Dr. Vicky to help us pull apart some of the themes of this full moon, which is pretty fiery.
We're in for quite a fiery season.
Look at the chart, like, yeah, it almost feels springy in a way that is like, I want to start something, right? And that's like really what the Aries archetype is about, initiatory kind of thing. And I just moved and I would love to show you more out the window, but it's sunny and the lighting is super messed up and I have to figure out the right way so you can see what I see and still, maybe it's the time of day, but it's just so bright out there. And today is kind of a cloudy day and it's still sunshine is like crazy. So I apologize for that, but I am going to get up to the roof and see if the moon is going to show her face tonight. We'll see.
We've been lucky enough to have clear nights, which is kind of unusual because we had rain for quite a while there. And it's been the moon is so bright, and it is a super moon, so it's lower on the horizon, so it's
Mm-hmm.
lighter really. And it's been like I said to Michael, I'm like, it's like it's daytime out there. It's crazy. And
Wow.
hopefully I think we'll maybe get to see the moon tonight when it's
I hope so.
closer to full.
Yeah, I hope so. So it's the last super moon in the series of four super moons. So it really is like finishing up something also. Okay, and this is what I'm going to do about that, or springing forward to something completely different, because we're at the beginning of the zodiac sign now, and this is the area that Aries controls,
Right.
the head. So
And it is the moon, so it's how we feeling? What's rising up out of us? What creative spark, because that's what Aries is about,
yeah,
is rising out of the waters of Pisces to manifest itself, but on an emotional level. And the moon is also on a, like, it's not just emotions, but it's practical. It's like it's your home, it's your body. What are you going to initiate new that's going to help you to face what's coming,
yeah,
what's ahead. I guess not what's coming, but what's ahead, because we have a certain amount of agency over what's coming because
yeah,
we're co-creative. We can you like there's these huge energy surges that we're feeling in this full moon, and then we have the eclipses,
I know.
right? So this is almost like, when you go to well, I haven't been, but say you go to the Rockies, you get to the foothills. This is
Yeah,
the foothills. The Rockies are coming next month with the eclipses. So, and whatever that's going to mean or whatever that's going to look like. But yeah, it's a great time to be alive.
yeah, it's exciting. Every day is different. This is an interesting dynamic with this moon, because the ruler of the moon, Mars, is in Libra right now, where the sun is like getting its orders from. So it's like you can't start. You want things to work out. You want them to balance and you want to start things, but be careful about too much, you know,
Well, the one
initiation.
thing, the one thing about the full moon is it's a culmination of the new moon. And so This
Okay.
next half of this, until we get to the next new moon, is a dissemination of whatever comes to fruition at this full moon. From that full moon to the new moon, it's putting that out there into the world. And so there's going to be something that comes up. Again, it could be a create for you, it might be the best lighting to do your videos. You know what I'm saying? But there's something new. And of course, now you're up in the sky. I mean, you've gone from like a place of energetically, like from a chrysalis. I feel like your other place was, it was beautiful, was all you, but it was this place where you've been developing for a number of years, and now the butterflies are free, right? Isn't that
Yeah.
the movie, right?
Yeah.
um and so now you're flying high on the butterfly there. And
Yeah.
which incidentally, the first degree of Libra is the symbol is about a butterfly.
Oh, really? That's interesting because I have a lot of art supplies and boxes still. I'm trying to figure out, we're gonna probably just have a big art closet and a leather cutout, something I had cut out, a butterfly like flew out of a box somewhere. I'm like, oh, okay, just put that. That's my bookmark now. And anything, I'm just like shoving things into places so that I have some kind of remembering where I left things. And it was a butterfly cutout. I'm like, huh, all right, that's interesting. But I
So there
didn't
you
give it
go.
a second thought until now when you start to think, okay, you're getting into your space. What is it that you want to create?
That's right. What do you want to create in the space? I think that's a good mantra for this full moon.
We'll
And
see.
and this part of the space is your head, right? So what do we have to be very discerning right now about what's going into our head.
Yeah. Yeah.
And your head will tell you, because if it doesn't like what it's seeing or hearing, it's going to hurt. And
Yeah.
that's when you have to stop doing what you're doing and figure out what your head wants.
Yeah. Also, anything in pairs would be something to look for in during this time. If it happens once, you're like, huh, that's unusual. If it happens again, pay close attention to that because the Libra gives you kind of a second chance. In my experience of the when Libra's in the, in the moon's in Libra, that there's things will repeat themselves if it's something you need to pay attention to. And now the sun is doing that, right? The sun's in Libra. So
But
think
it's
twice.
interesting because we have the sun in Libra, we have Mars in Libra, we have the South Node in Libra,
That's right.
we have the Aries moon, but it's all the Aries moon goes back to Mars, which is in Libra. Everything goes back to Venus, coming
Mm-hmm.
out of her shadow phase,
Yep.
Leo.
That's so true. Yes. Venus
And,
is
and then she's gonna, there you go.
there she
Then
is.
she's gonna move into Virgo, right?
Yeah.
Moves into Virgo early in October, but it's like before she gets there, she has to go through that yod. We have the sextile between Pluto and
Neptune.
Neptune. And so like that 26, 27, 28, 29 degrees of Leo is in this yod, and it requires us to listen to the evolution that's happening
Yeah.
and make the adjustments within our values, within our whatever.
Yeah.
And then when we move into Virgo, then we all roll up our sleeves and we get to work.
Yeah.
But this is still like that inspiring energy now. And it goes to this moon because the moon is ruled on both ends, really, by
Mm-hmm.
Venus,
Right.
because Mars, which would be the normal ruler of Aries, is in a Venus ruled sign.
Right.
So women are large and in charge.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Good. Let's look at the chart.
Okay, do you want the Aries rising or the United States?
Um, Let's do Aries rising.
Yeah, that's what I would have said. I
Yeah,
left it up to you because
yeah.
this is your
Because
shoe. It's a
it's a
very good
nice
shoe.
visual of where this whole thing begins, the
Yes.
sprout.
Yes,
So
yes.
I'm in between these two colossia plants that are doing that right now. They're like this and they're like waving at me. I will probably use this as a picture maybe for the thumbnail because everything is got this Aries flavor to it. So
Including my Aries picture.
yes. And I think that's where I'm moving. All of my things are sort of kind of come together, and the ceiling is tall enough to support that kind of uh theme here right now because I had a thin tall house but I had a lot of room, and now I have like a wedge, and I'm trying to move like all these things, so I need more like vertical things, and it's all coming up and out like that, so the dog doesn't chew on any flowers or the plants did really well. They love it here.
Well, with all the light, how could they
They
not?
love it. The Meyer lemon tree is right behind me, and I'll show you someday. It's going to have lemons right inside here. I know. I know.
So here's the chart. You see it, right?
Yep. So 6 degrees of Libra for the sun, 6 degrees of Aries for the moon. You see that on the like lower left quadrant of the chart. In
Wow.
between Chiron and what is happening right about now, I guess, would be the moon conjunct Neptune today.
Yeah, it's conjunct Neptune later today. Yeah. It actually, the moon makes a sextile to Uranus, a conjunction to Pluto. No, a sextile to Uranus, a conjunction to Neptune, and a sextile to Pluto. Yeah. So it's it's like getting activated by all of the transpersonal planets before it moves into Aries, and
Oh,
then we have a full moon.
yeah.
So those far out planets are having their say right now, as we something new is created in our emotional sphere. Aries. I want, if I could, if you wouldn't mind, I'm just gonna put the asteroids in because I want to
Yeah.
something out. Okay, let me do that.
And because the moon has just moved into Aries, there's still some time to do and correct and redo what you intend, right, for the full moon. And then you meet up with Chiron, and basically you don't have a choice. It's gonna
Well,
be
I think that's true.
so
Like at this point in our evolution, I do think that we just have to go along for the ride at this point
yeah.
and do our best. Like
Yep.
that's really that's as good as it gets
It really, yeah.
to quote that movie with what's his name. So things got a little more crowded with the increase with the addition of the feminine asteroids and Eris, which, as you can see, is a minute away from exactitude with the North Node.
Yes. Opposite
I mean,
Mars
look at this. Yes, opposite Mars
in Libra.
here on the South Node. And this energy isn't really going anywhere because the next thing that happens is the new moon in Aries, and all the same players are around the nodes.
Yeah.
Only now it's an eclipse. So, like I said, this is the foothill. Then we're gonna go straight up the mountain with the eclipses. Sorry, I got a little excited. There's a lovely grand trine, maybe lovely, with Saturn and Ceres and Vesta. This combination here, there could be um,
Flooding.
a lot of souls leaving all at once
Mm-hmm.
coming up, which is happening.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like that's a big thing. I mean,
It,
how many people in Libya got washed into the
yeah.
Mediterranean? I mean,
With
it's
Saturn in the Pisces, it's like a flooding, or you don't get the full story. Like, the fires in Maui, like, we're not really sure how it started. Now they're trying to scapegoat, but it's that the structures were destroyed, but they fell into the ocean. So we don't really have an answer.
right. Well,
That
now, if you look at this chart, I mean, look at how much fire and how much air is in this chart.
one potentiates the other.
Yes, that's what I
Yes.
mean.
Yes.
So we have to be I think there's a certain amount of discernment that has to come at this time for that reason, because something small could get very big very quickly if enough air blows on it.
So recognize that.
We do have Taurus though. We have Earth, which is good. And we do have the water, but the water is kind of the sort of feminine asteroid. Oh, and then Neptune, which is the big water, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting to see how this all manifests itself, isn't it?
I know. I
I
know.
just it's like I'm watching like a nail biting cliffhanger, and it's
Yes.
real life. It's like what's really happening. It's
Mhm.
like it's not the television, or maybe it is. Maybe we're all in this sort of, we're all watching the same show, and who knows? I never thought that way until, you get holed up in your house for a couple of years, and your only access is like the internet. So
Right. We'll see. I don't know. I have to work tomorrow night, so we'll
well,
see.
so oh my God, you're gonna work. Oh my God, you're so
Yeah.
brave.
Yeah.
We're gonna get the real skinny on this full moon once
We'll
Ona
see.
comes back from
And then
work.
I do think about those things, and if I could ever, deliver those things in a way that doesn't sound funny or weird, I would, the full moon in Aries, I'd say, you guys ready for, a lot of behavioral health patients tonight? And I won't say because the full moon's in Aries, and
Yeah,
like,
you don't have to. You
there'll
don't
be a
have to
lot
tell
of
people how
behavioral
you
health,
know.
you know, if you're up for that kind of challenge. And some things are just related to what's happening in the neighborhood. Oktoberfest is coming. Come on.
That reminds me, I haven't bought any Oktoberfest beer, and it's my favorite of the Sam Adams variety. I haven't been drinking. I've been like avoiding alcohol,
Yeah.
and it's been about a couple of months, but it's Oktoberfest, and I need to have my Oktoberfest. So I'm
Oh,
not trying to not drink. It was just a choice. Like, let me see what this is like. And it's been
yes.
cool because I don't really drink that much anyway, but I do
Yes.
enjoy an
You should
Oktober.
have your special Oktoberfest beer because it brings back that vibe of, that time of year. And I know you've got to love fall, right?
Oh,
I mean,
it's
that's,
always been my favorite
yeah.
season.
For us, it's like the vomitorium is open. I know. I feel like this was probably like a Roman, vomitorium in some kind of past.
Yes, Saturnalia. Happy Saturnalia.
Yeah. And that's what Oktoberfest means to me, pretty much. You know. So it'll be an interesting thing. Although October is the month that the star card is highlighted right in the tarot, and I like
Right. Yep.
like that.
17.8 vibration, October 2023. Yeah.
Yeah. And
So that's about being inspired. That's being open
yeah.
to the messages, of which there will be many, many, many coming.
Yeah. That's what I like about this full moon too, is that it kind of opens that channel to maybe doing something a little bit different, you know, putting it out there, being who you are kind of thing. But this is, I think, definitely highlighted, right?
Yep.
It's an interesting chart. There's a lot of weird geometry in there. Looks like a cat got loose with a ball of yarn. But it all means something and it all strikes you differently.
Yeah, there's definitely yeah, it's definitely, again, I feel like it's a bump up till the next experience, but it's going to be a valuable bump up. We need this. I mean, Aries is all about energy,
Yeah.
and the energy is going to come in, and so that's why I said it's coming into the head. So you have to watch your head, to pay
Yeah.
attention to what your head, whether it comes through a headache or a vision or a
Mm-hmm.
thought. Um,
Mm-hmm. And it's red. So if I were going to throw that in, into the experience too, I also learned that red is like the color of 2024. Of course, the North Node just moved into Aries, and that's an Aries color. And red affects people differently.
mhm. Well,
Okay.
it's the root chakra. It's survival.
Mm-hmm. So how much of that Mars energy, North Node energy, full moon and Aries energy do you want to introduce, or do you want to cool it down a little bit?
Well, with Venus in charge, I think Venus is saying, let's sit down, let's talk about it, let's get along, let's agree to something, let's let's move on this journey together. I think that's what the
Yeah,
message is. And we're not alone.
right.
We're
And
not alone.
there's still some resistance though, there's still a little bit of I don't know if I want to. Venus to me is like cinnamon. Venus is cinnamon. That's what she's flavored. And she tastes good in everything. Everything. You could put cinnamon in just about anything and it tastes good, right? Savory, sweet. But there are some people that just don't, they're like, nope.
Yeah, those are the people that are talking about suntanning their testicles,
Maybe that's the problem.
right? It's that uber masculine, you know, being masculine means that you can do whatever you want and be a bully, and if you show any compassion, you're a wimp. I mean, that's a sickness. That's Aries. That's Aries, Chiron and Aries, of which the United States has a Chiron and Aries, and we're
Yes.
going through a Chiron return along with our Pluto return.
And the full moon in the morning will be conjunct Chiron at some point in that time during the day tomorrow or tomorrow. I'm sure I'll be at work.
And
Right? I'm
you'll
sure.
know, Chiron must be
I'll
on
tell
the
you.
moon.
I'll tell you. Chiron and the
Text
moon
me. Chiron
conjunct.
must be on the moon.
I'll be like, yep. I'll be writing notes on my hand already by that time, I'm sure. So it won't be much. But it's kind of a charged day where it's easy, I think, to maybe erupt or maybe make a bad decision, or just know that you have a chance to retract
Right.
those things. Remember, Libras, like in the sun, are want things to be fair.
Fair. So again, maybe if somebody comes up at you or there's an issue, because that can happen with Aries, just say, "Are you sure about this?" Give them the opportunity to make sure that this is where they want to stand. And
Yes.
you hold a firm boundary, but a fair boundary.
Yes.
And then if they continue, that's when the law comes in. That, Libra is nicey nicey until you cross the line. That's
Yeah.
why Libra is associated with law. And Libra, the sign of Libra is the justice card in the tarot.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice until the line is crossed. And we're seeing that with Trump and Chutkin, I think, like in the larger, scheme.
Yeah.
The January 6th judge.
We're seeing that with unions here.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. This is the union stuff. Look at that. I mean, how could we not? Right. And
yeah.
it's the auto workers,
All of them. The
right?
nursing
And it's like
union's been in
cars are an Aries
negotiations.
thing.
Yep. All of it. And you know what? They're not asking for that much. They just want to stabilize.
They want a future. They're
Yeah.
asking for their future. They're
And
not saying, I
yeah.
want to make $30 an hour or $100 an hour. They're like, things are changing and we want to have a say in the change and we want to have a place in the change. That guy,
Yeah.
Sean Fain, which is interesting because it's close to the name of the Sinn Fein, which was like in Ireland, which was the Catholics and the Troubles, and that's the political, like there's a balancing here
Mm-hmm.
of two sides that you wouldn't think would ever get because really, I mean, honestly, the real war, if we might call it that, is between the elites and the rest of us.
Yeah.
Not between us. We have the same issues as those people wearing all the weird Trump shirts and all of that, and they're us and we're them. And then there are those people pulling the strings.
Yeah.
And this is about actuating your ability to have agency over yourself, Aries.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. So it's interesting. And I like the way it's this North Node is manifesting itself in that same direction where people are, they just want something that's a stable contract that they can live on. They can't survive off of, uh, you know, our situation at work was COVID funds have been dissolved because that program has also been discontinued. So we can't offer the same rates or the same availability or bonuses anymore. And they just want to know that they'll have a stability, a contract for 6 years instead of a bonus every once in a while. So, and they deserve it.
Or haven't they been talking about a workers' bill of rights for a long time? Like
We
if
have
we
them.
had if we had a workers' bill of rights, we wouldn't need negotiations because they would just have to follow the Bill of Rights.
Yeah.
And so like if inflation goes up 20%, you have to increase people's salary 20% so that it can offset it. Now, I'm not an economist,
Yeah.
and the economists in the audience are probably going, "Shut up, you don't know what you're talking about." But there has to be something. We have to democratize everything. And that's why we're having so much issues with democracies and all
Yeah.
these authoritarian regimes, is because they don't want us to have a say,
Yeah.
because then we'll want what we deserve to have and they'll have to, I don't know, share their billions. Come on, people. I'm sorry.
The money's always going to be there, whether they share it or not.
Yeah, and it's not, it's money is energy
Always going to be
anyway.
there.
Learn how to access the energy, and the money
Mhm.
will flow to you. That's the other part of the
And it could, yeah, you know what? Living within your means too. I think that's going to be a theme,
yeah.
and
And what do you
how
really need? What do you really need?
right, right, and how that's changed. There's been so
Enormous change.
yeah, compartmentalization, and isolation, and people don't look up anymore. They're always looking down.
Hmm?
I was at the grocery store, and I'm not kidding. I was the only one shopping for my own groceries. Everybody else was like this, looking for items and checking it off. Personal, like, there's a bunch of things like um
Yeah.
delivery companies that now that you can get stuff delivered, not just Amazon, but even Amazon
Yeah. It's like
shopping.
everything's turning into Amazon. You go to the grocery store and the people working at the grocery store are getting people's grocery orders together so that they
Yes.
can pick them up outside or they can take them by truck to their house.
Yes. Or coming from a delivery source. And I was like, wow, this is different, right? I'm used to like it's just different.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
always looking
well,
down.
this
Nobody
can
looks up. Nobody looks at you.
this is death and this is life. And
Yeah.
so you have to balance because a lot of us spend a lot of time like this. Either we're working or we're concentrating or we're doing shopping or shopping for
Right.
somebody else. We have to make sure we balance it with this.
Yeah. Yeah. Some good yoga, maybe for this full moon too, would work.
Moons, there's a sun salutation. Is there a moon salutation?
Oh,
Probably.
there's gotta be.
It's got to be, right?
There's gotta be.
Hey,
So,
I sent you something. I sent you something in the email. Did you see it? These 2 days, it's like a special, the 28th and the 29th, it's a special, uh, I'm gonna say Naksatra, but I'm sure that's not what it is. Something in Hindu. Check your mail. I sent it to you
okay. All
because it's
right.
about Saturn. This is a time, these next 2 days, today and tomorrow, are days to strengthen Saturn.
Yes, I have been on that for a while, and my Saturn finger has been really bugging me the last couple of days. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
since you since you
I'm aware, I get it, I get
since
it.
you messed it up.
And I keep bumping it. Like if I'm bumping my head on cabinet doors, I'm leaving open. I didn't even know I had a cabinet up there. Like stuff
Well,
is
that's the other thing we have to watch with this full moon in Aries is not to bunk your head on stuff.
bumping your
Or
head
there's a greater chance you will. So try to not bang it too hard, maybe.
up in your head. So don't bump your head. I think that's a good segue. I have hopes that I'm going to be able to see that moon tonight, and I will take you up to the rooftop to check that out. So with that being said, I have had some weird experiences with the moon energy the other night. I had a weird taste in my mouth, and then I took 2 COVID tests. The first one I screwed up, and the second one was negative. So I came out to the living room and I saw the moonshine on the lake. And then I went up to the roof and took a picture, and it happened again. This rolling feeling. I'm like, the moon is definitely wanting to talk to you. So you can always engage in a personal conversation with her without an appointment, a Groupon, or a coupon. If you see
Or
and
a Zoom link.
ask, what do you need from me? And what is the first thing that comes to your head? Full moon in Aries, and engage it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I apologize for the last full moon. This first full moon in Aries and then in the new house here will be a little different, but I'll do the best I can.
It's going to be wonderful.
Thank you, and we'll see you soon.
Bye, everyone. Much love.